Hey, welcome back, everybody. And it's going to be a crazy, crazy weekend. Well, it's raining outside, and we have a ton of open houses going on in the market today. Many of you, I'm sure, are going to go out and take a look at them. With that, we also have the Hawks tomorrow. Go Hawks. Hopefully, they'll be able to pull off the Cinderella story tomorrow. I guess we'll all see. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about what the heck is going on with inventory. Sales seem to be, struggling a little bit. And interest rates, they've been coming down. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about new construction and foreclosures, what it all means for us so you can make the best business decision possible. Let's get the show on the road here. All right, so when we take a look at it, we're going to step back and take a look at January numbers. This happens to be from the Northwest MLS. What's super important about this is their numbers actually include residential and condos, whereas the numbers that you're going to see later in the show, those are going to be only residential. Those are the numbers that we use consistently. That's a bulk of the buyers and sellers out there. And so when we take a look at both condos and residential, it kind of skews it a little bit. So anyway, let's get the show on the road. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on within the inventory levels and January 26 takeaways. Excuse me. So here we go. Active listings. Total number of properties listed for sale actually increased by, basically 21% year over year. With that, the counties that had the largest increases and the ones that are kind of being brought for, front and center here, Jefferson County, Walla Walla, Thurston, Okanagan, Adams, and Clallam County. Now, it's important for us to mention those because when we take a look at the three core counties that basically make up the largest populations of Washington State, that's going to be the King, Pierce, and Snohomish County. Those are numbers that we tend to look at as far as on a deeper dive because that's where the greatest population is. When we talk about more rural areas, naturally, not only market times are going up, but we're also seeing that we're having a greater inventory as people are wanting to be a little bit more city core central with the return to work and everything else. Again, it's a normal cycle. It's not a big deal, but that's part of why we're seeing some of the number change here. So if we talk about closed sales, hey, listen, when we got closed sales decreased by 7% year over year from 25 to 26. The however is, and these are January numbers, however, we saw about 30.8% less than we did in December. Now, that's, again, not uncommon because we saw some amazing numbers happening in December. A lot of buyers came to the market. A lot of that was interest rate driven, and you're going to see some of those numbers popping up. Year over year, closed sales decreased by 16 out of the 27 counties, while 10 counties actually saw an increase in sales. And that's King, Pierce, and Snohomish County were participants in that. Now, when we talk about the sales price, the median sales price actually went down. It was $595 in January 2026. Down 3.25% from January last year. The counties with the highest median sale price, San Juan County, King, and Snohomish County. And of course, some of the lowest, Columbia, Okanagan, Grant. We also include Clallam in that one, part of Kitsap. So again, the more rural areas are what's kind of bringing things down. So some folks are saying, George, holy crap, does that mean our market is shifted? No, not really. Just be patient. Let's take a look at just residential. And then if you want to, we have King, Pierce, Snohomish County, some of the other outlying counties, specific videos for those. But those counties actually are doing quite well. We have seen some multiple offers coming in on well-priced homes. Again, situation normal. Why? Because we are taking off. In fact, let's fast forward this. Hang on a second here. I'm going to bypass this. Let's go right here. So when we come in and we take a look at this, excuse me, look, we have the Northwest MLS days on market has actually come down. So the amount of time that a home is on market actually has been reduced by 3 days. Plus, we were at 95% list to sales price. We're now back to 97%. That's a big deal. Okay, understand, we're starting to see a lot of momentum. We're seeing, again, homes coming on market, but we're seeing more homes going off market. And we're continuing that, especially with rates that are 0.75%, almost 1% lower than what they were this time last year. And so when we consider that element, plus the fact that what we've got are new homes coming on market, new construction, setting that aside, buyers have more options. We're seeing a lot of buyers coming off of the sidelines and actually entering into the market, especially when we're bobbling between 6.1 and 5.875 on rate. Depending on what profit point a lender is looking at, we've seen some still as low as 5.65, 5.75. If you want a list of lenders, just put it down below and we'll fire those off to you. Now, if we come back and we take a look at just the headlines, okay? So look, we've got logical pullback in mortgage apps because we've seen, we've gone from the steady 5 3/4 back up to the 6. When we take a look at the actual rates, we saw a little bit of improvement after the employment data came out, but really at the end of the day, hey, you know what? We're holding pretty steady at about 6.1%. That is a good number for a lot of buyers out there. Again, it's 0.75% lower than where we were at last year. Now, again, if you watch the rate, if you watch your 10-year treasury, you'll see when we will actually dip down into the high fives and then we pop back up again. The rates are going to change every single day, multiple times during the day. A lot of our clients that we give the heads up saying, hey, make your application right now. Why? Rates dip down, you can capitalize them. But again, like what we've been telling you last year and the year before, it will be brief, very brief when they dip down into the fives, and then they are going to pop back up again. So make sure that you are up to date with your lender, have your last set of bank statements, make sure that you've got your last pay stubs in so that you can respond to that as quickly as possible. All right, let's get back to it. So when we come back here and we take a look at the chart again, yes, we're at 97 now, not 95% of list to sales price, but let's take a look at the running 7-day average. You know, we have 771 homes coming on market and we have 910 homes going off market. Again, the whole point of this is to let you know we have a lot of buyer activity. We have a phenomenal amount of buyer activity because rates are down. For home sellers that aren't feeling kind of held with the golden handcuffs, those are the folks with, 3 and 4% mortgage rates. Those folks that are coming on market are seeing a lot of activity. Heck, we were already out this morning on some fixer homes, and I'll tell you, it's pretty amazing when people are starting to stack outside the doors now. So again, for sellers, make sure you are pricing yourself right. You'll get buyers stacked up at your door. If you overprice, you think, you know what, I'm just want to get that little extra bit. Listen, buyers are super smart. They are not going to fall into that trap, and it'll just be crickets. Anyway, let's get back to it. So when we come back here and we talk about what we're doing with the Northwest MLS, what's going on with our numbers, you can see that on the right-hand side there, it's seasonally normal. We're starting to bump up in activity. Now, when we take a look at the metrics, what's coming on sale, what's new on sale, what is sold, what is pended, okay? Look, we have increased in the number of sales year over year, okay? However, from December, we're actually going to be seeing those closings happening. Well, those closings actually happen in January. January closings are going to happen in February, and we're starting to see those roll in right now. Because even, when we saw last month's numbers, we were at about 14% higher pended than where we're at today. If we look at the bottom chart, that is the month over month for February. Look, again, January sales, we're starting to see those happening. We're up 28% already, and we know that January continued to improve. When we take a look at pended for February, which is a dynamic number, look, we're up almost 18%. That's a little over 100 homes, and that is a big deal, all right? Again, we're taking off for every home that's coming on market. We're taking 1.25 homes off the market every single day. Friday's a big list day. That's why we're seeing 775 homes that came on market. Normally it's about 585, 625-ish, but we're still in the 900s as far as homes going pending each and every week. So if we come back here and we talk about what we're doing with as far as pricing, list to sales price for the month of February, look, we're down $38,000 where we were at last week, $13,000 less year over year as far as average or medium sales price, actually average sales price. With that, the metrics of what's happening today, look, market times last week were up 17 days as our little narrative says, but we're actually down to 14 now. Sales prices were at 95% list to sales price. That is actually now at 97. So we actually are par for the course year over year, and that's a great deal. So when we talk about homes going under contract, look, they're up 13, 14, 17%, depending on which month or which metric that you're looking at, still seeing more homes going pending than not. So if we roll over to new construction, now, here's the thing about new construction. A lot of incentives are still being offered. The number of incentives being offered in November, December was definitely better. We're not seeing as many homes coming on as you're going to see here momentarily, but we're still seeing an improvement on the number of sales. Look at that. So for the first time, February over February, they're up 1.3%. Let's make that a little bigger. Okay, bottom chart. They're up 1.3% for the same month year over year. All right. Now, when we take a look at the number of solds, which is actually, again, January numbers, they're already up 1.3%. When we take a look at the year to date, now granted, year to date, it's only a month and 7 days. Our inventory as far as new on market is less. However, you might say, George, look, they're down 23, almost 24% as far as solds. That's actually better this week than it was last week or the week before, as they're starting to pick up more and more momentum. Yes, a lot of the builders are suffering because of the new inventory, well, resales, the new listings coming on that are resales, not new construction. That's playing a massive competition for many of the homes that are out there. Is that okay? Sure. It's situation normal. Does it mean that the buyer or that the builders are going to stop building? Absolutely not. In fact, we just closed on 3 projects with builders and our clients just this last couple of weeks. So they are absolutely moving forward, just like on some of the projects that we are doing personally. We're moving forward with our projects, knowing that, hey, looking out 6-8 months, we're seeing a good market trend happening, and they will continue to add more homes to this. Now, when we come back and we take a look at just the list to sales price, look, a couple of weeks ago on the far right-hand side, we were down 8.1% as far as the average sold price. We've actually bumped that up. We're at now 5.4%, which has continued to improve. When we take a look at the same month of February, sure, they're down, according to this, the average sales price is down roughly about 10%, 9%. Not uncommon. Again, that doesn't necessarily mean what the values of homes are right now. It just says what is selling at this time. And most of those projects are a little bit further out. When we talk about, say, the east side in Seattle, those homes are selling very well, but with also pretty incredible incentives that go with it as far as rate buy downs, additional amenities to a house, closing cost credits, and things like that. Why? Again, because they have to compete with the resale homes that are coming on, which are coming on in greater volume because the buyers out there are absorbing it. We're about 2 months, 2.5 months of inventory, where a average or a balanced market is typically between 4 and 6 months. All right, moving on. Let's move over to, hang on a second. Let's get the foreclosures up here. All right, bank-owned homes. Again, not a great idea. Not a great set of homes. As far as thinking I'm going to find myself an absolutely fabulous deal. The center chart there, look, we're up 37 homes. That's about situation normal. Look at this, new inventory is down 33%. That's 4 homes. Again, when you deal with such tiny, tiny little numbers, it's not a big deal, all right? So when we talk about foreclosures, look, banks are going to come in, they're going to do paint, carpet, and vinyl, which is fabulous, okay? They get in, and because we're one of the 5 sweet spots across the United States, they're getting market value for their homes. Not unexpected. Our inventory still is not up to 2019 levels. Our market is still pushing forward. We're seeing, a softening, okay? But we're not going down. We're more kind of flat-ish again, or basically exactly what we were at last year, very flat, but still moving along and still seeing more activity as we are showing you from the pending sales. If you have any questions, put them down below. Let us know what they are. There's no strings attached. Stay dry out there. It is mighty wet. I'll see you guys on the next video. Remember, like, share, and subscribe. It helps out the channel. There's no marketing. Just the goal is to get you guys really solid information. Meantime, have a great day. I'll see you on the next video. Take care.